Wanting to start a cannabis micro-business in Missouri will soon be able to apply for a state license. Joe McLean reports on the state's timeline for applications.
This will be the second of 3 rounds of micro-business licenses that the state awards. They're expected to be issued in July. But of course, micro-businesses is not the only license that the state issues.
All licenses moving forward, including this last round that we did, are to be issued by lottery per the Constitution. So that gives everybody sort of this fair access to the licensing process.
There are 2 types of marijuana micro-businesses in Missouri. By law, the state has to issue licenses to at least 48 dispensaries and at least 96 wholesale facilities. And those have to be spread out evenly between the state's 8 congressional districts. The whole idea is to make sure there's equitable access to the limited market, including for those who are rebuilding after being prosecuted for marijuana.
So some of the criteria for eligibility are disabled veteran, someone who has a previous marijuana conviction, or people that live in an area that has disproportionately high poverty or unemployment.
Cannabis has been legal for recreational use since last February, but medical use started in late 2020. Since then, retailers say their customers have been thrilled.
They're very excited about it. They're excited for the opportunity. Taxes is a common one that they bring up, especially with the increase on the taxes recently. But they enjoy the opportunity to have access to safe and reliable cannabis.
Maggie Chatterton is the state manager of the Missouri Health and Wellness Dispensaries. She says they're preparing for their first renewal of their 3-year license. For micro businesses, the 3rd round of licenses by law can't happen until at least next March. In Jefferson City, Joe McLean, KY3 News.